there was no moment when I was like, oh, I should like try to pursue this in a real way. It was like I kind of felt like I was a musician from the time I was a kid. It was just like one day, like I started like needing to try to make money off of it, but like, my passion towards it and my focus towards it was, unwavering.
You're everything New York. No?
I think that like I really identify strongly with New York. Like, I mean, I grew up here. The Mets are like my biggest passion other than music. And like, I love comedy, and particularly like comedy that feels very New York, like Seinfeld or whatever.
Right.
That kind of stuff.
Larry David, like.
That's like my people,
Man, you started making music at a very early age, but your family has also been in the film industry. I feel like there's kind of a straight line between that kind of creativity. Like what was it like coming up in this place, but also like more specific to you coming up in a family of filmmakers and creatives?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it just felt very natural, like growing up. My one thing that I will really say about my parents is that like they didn't really like create this like hierarchy of when you become a professional storyteller or whatever, or professional artist. So like if I was writing a song, my parents would listen to it and take me seriously, and like maybe even not in like a rude way, but like maybe even give me an idea or a piece of constructive idea about it, even if I was 5 years old or whatever. And they would like, and the things that they would say they would like about it wasn't like, oh my God, you're 5 and you wrote a song. It'd be like, oh my God, this lyric was so thoughtful or whatever. So they like really, I felt very taken seriously by them very early. And then conversely, my dad is a great screenwriter, and he would write scripts and give them to everyone in the family to read. And I remember like reading one of his scripts when I was like 7 years old, and like if I said, oh, I didn't really like this character, like he seemed really mean, like he would be like, oh, like what made you feel that way, So I think that like there was just this feeling that we were all really into. First of all, my parents were super into music, like aside of my dad being an artist in his own right and my mom is a dancer, like there was just always music on in the house, which I didn't realize wasn't commonplace until like I've spoken with other friends of mine where like that wasn't the case. But like every morning when I wake up and walk into my living room like for breakfast or whatever, there was just like some of the music that's still my favorite music today playing. So that's a huge impact. But then the like conversations about art and feeling like I wasn't excluded from those conversations just because I was A, not as old as people that are usually part of those conversations, or B, doesn't have a professional resume the way that my dad did. I felt very included in that by them.
Yeah.
So I think that was a big part of it. It was a lot of just like talking about it. And when we would watch a movie, like we'd leave the movie and be like, what did everybody think of the movie? It's just like, there was just a culture of talking about those things.
A culture of collaboration.
Yeah, that too.
For where you feel as if your voice has some weight. And I think that by your dad doing that, you, I think that it builds up your self-esteem.
Yeah.
And you feel like, man, my opinion really, makes a difference. And that's probably one of the best things. And musically speaking, we all collaborate on things. That's probably one of the biggest things that we bring to the table is to hear each other out and to say, hey, that was some badass shit you just did.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So with growing up, what were you listening to? What was, what do you remember that just sticks out to you? Like, oh, I love that record. I love this record.
Tons of Beatles. Like the Beatles was just, I knew it like I knew the colors of the rainbow, or like it was just a second nature thing. So that was almost its own category of thing where I don't even remember hearing the Beatles. It was just like there always in every single song. Mm-hmm. But then a lot of classic rock, like The Who and the Kinks and stuff like that, like British Invasion stuff. the Stones, and then a ton of like Stevie Wonder was always on in the house, and like immediately for me, like when I heard Stevie Wonder, I was like, I just remember like the joy that it made me feel growing up to hear that those albums was just like very visceral to me. Ton of great singer-songwriters, Carole King, Randy Newman, Paul Simon. What other stuff? I mean, just like a lot of like the Monkees. A lot of
Wow.
the Monkees are so good. Like I think they're one of the most underrated bands.
Yeah.
A lot of just like the classic Motown stuff, you know, like Smokey Robinson, Jackson 5, all that stuff. And then like a lot of the 70s horn bands like Chicago, Earth, Wind and Fire, Blood, Sweat and Tears, Tower of Power.
Do you find like the other kids that you were going to school with, do you find your taste, your musical, what you were exposed to musically being just totally different?
Completely.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
I was in school and people were like listening to like Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and Britney
Right.
Spears. And I was like, have you guys heard like Intervisions? Like, you know, like whatever, like, and it was like, you know, like totally different wavelengths about that. There were certain things that I feel like would get linked up on. Well, there was funny stuff. Like I remember when Smash Mouth did a cover of I'm a Believer that everyone at school was really into. And I was
for the
like,
Shrek
I'm a
movie.
Believer is a Monkey song.
Right,
And I
right,
was like,
right.
I know
the
that
original.
song.
Here's
Yeah,
the original. Listen
yeah,
to
yeah. I was always like that guy. There were like some moments of overlap, and then there were certain artists of like my era that I got really into, like Ben Folds. But even still, Ben Folds was not something that like kids my age were listening to.
Right.
So I was on a very different wavelength. But then what's funny is that as I got older, I started to really appreciate how good the songwriting was of a lot of those Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, Britney Spears, those types of songs. And then our band started to actually like do covers of those songs in the style of the music that we love, which then became a really popular thing for us. So it kind of all came back around in this funny way where like I was rediscovering how amazing NSYNC was in like 2015 or whatever.
Right, so you were kind of looking backwards at it, saying, "Oh,
Right.
This is this whole era of pop culture that I missed because I was like so filling myself up with the stuff of the 70s that's still like my core love. But I was like, let me take a second and like these Britney Spears songs are amazing. Like,
Right.
and then like trying to deliver versions of those songs to people that maybe are into the same style of music that I am.
Right.
And, you know, we do tons of those covers
Right.
in a really fun way, dating back to like high school and college parties. Because we started out as a college party band
Okay.
at Brown. We were playing basement parties, and so like we would seamlessly go between playing originals, playing like Stevie songs, but then playing like kind of funky versions of like Britney Spears songs. And that really would like connect with people that did grow up on that music. And then that was kind of like giving them a foot in the door to like the sound that we were going for.
Before you went to Brown, when did you what led you to get into music? When did you start like playing?
The only thing that could get me to calm down was like when I was a baby was like sitting me at a piano or like handing me a pair of drumsticks or whatever, like even before I knew how to do anything. So I think it was just like such a thing I gravitated to for whatever reason. And per the conversation we were having earlier, like there was no moment when I was like, oh, I should like try to pursue this in a real way. It was like I kind of felt like I was a musician from the time I was a kid. It was just like one day, like I started like needing to try to make money off of it, but like,
Right.
but like
Right,
my
right,
passion towards it and my focus towards it was, you know, unwavering from early on.
Do you feel like the piano is the thing that drew you in? Because I know now you play a lot of instruments,
Yeah.
but initially, was it like, did you think of yourself as like a piano guy or piano player, or was that just kind of the vehicle that was there?
I mean, the first instrument I played was drums. Like as like a baby. Like I was like, there's like really fun videos of me playing drums when I'm like 2 years old, and like, but I think that's maybe just because it's a little easier to do that at that age.
Right.
I definitely think the piano really like just laid it all out for me. You know, like I just remember as a kid, it's like so easy to explore the piano because you can just, you know. I think that if anything, my early love for the piano and how fluent I became in it so early made me a little impatient about picking up new instruments sometimes. Like I like the discipline that it takes for you guys to play trumpet and how even once you learn how to hit a note, you then need to develop for years to be able to make that note sound good. Like that's like a discipline that I admire so much that I think kind of I screwed myself from being able to have like the patience for, because piano was so like immediate and accessible and the user interface of it was like so navigable from such a young age,
Right.
that it then took me, I mean, I started playing guitar and bass in like maybe 8th grade or something like that, but by that point I was like very, very proficient.
You know, that's
as a
the
piano
first
player.
time I've ever heard a piano being described with the user interface.
Right. It makes a lot of sense though the way you describe it, where it's
Yeah.
like, and I mean, don't sell
It's
your
just like, here's music.
Yeah.
Here's all the notes. Hit one, it comes out. Yes, there's some difference in how it sounds when I hit it compared to, you know, George Gershwin or something, but like more or less compared with other things, a 4-year-old hitting a note on the piano and a virtuosic, incredible trained piano player hitting that same note, like it's
It's
not
a big difference. It's a
well,
big.
I would say it's a big difference, but it's less of a big difference than almost any
Right.
other thing you
Right.
can.
Well, man,
I hear you.
if we heard like Herbie Hancock
Right.
play a C, and then you hear me play a C,
Something
it
about it.
immediately sounds like Herbie Hancock.
Yeah, there is something cool about that, but I would say it's a lot different
Right.
than the difference between me trying to hit a
Right.
C on the trumpet and you trying to hit a C on the
Right.
trumpet.
I feel that, and but what I would say is that like what you're saying, you make a great point, but also the feel with which you play with or anybody plays with feels like the comparable part to like hitting a C on a trumpet, where it's like
Right.
if you play
Once you get past hitting one note.
Right,
I'm just saying hitting one note as a kid and you hit it.
yeah.
But no, of course, once you get into even playing a chord or playing
Right.
any melody, all of a sudden every different piano player has their
Yes.
complete own voice on it. No
Right.
question about it.
Did Lawrence exist when you all were at Brown, or was it kind of just like Clyde Lawrence?
Well, it in a way it existed before that. So me and Gracie were playing music together forever.
Right.
I was really focused on like piano and songwriting. I didn't really think of myself as a singer, and I also didn't really think of myself as like a performer, much less a frontman. I think that like my heroes were always like the members of bands that were like the not the lead member, like but like kind of a lot of the creative voice in the operation, like the Pete Townsends or the Noel Gallaghers, like
Right.
those were the guys I really looked up to.
Yeah.
So I always envisioned myself one day like being a writer, ideally for like, you know, maybe for Gracie even, because Gracie was such a performer from such a young age.
Yeah.
So she and I were performing forever. Eventually I got kind of more into singing. She got into songwriting. So we were performing together. Jordan from our band is someone that I met when I was maybe 6 years old. We were playing together forever. He's a saxophone player.
Right.
So immediately, especially having him around, he's also a Long Island guy, grew up worshiping like Billy Joel's music. And so immediately like my love of that kind of like horn driven music, and then having a friend who is such a talented horn player at such a young age really solidified like this idea of including horns in my writing as like a core part of my sound and my voice as an artist. Then met Sam, our drummer, in middle school. We went to middle school together. So we were already playing shows by the time we were in like certainly high school, if not even including middle school. And we would play, you know, some of the same music or the kind of music that is now Lawrence music, some other stuff, but including even like literally some songs back in high school that then made it into our discography that are like now still songs we play today.
Wow.
Like Wash Away from our first album is a song I wrote in 10th grade. Come On Brother, So Damn Fast.
Right.
Those are Homesick. The whole Homesick EP is mostly stuff I wrote in high school. So that's stuff we were playing as a band back in high school. But then zooming forward to college, met the rest of the people that were in the band. And pretty much since high school, we had a larger collective because, you know, someone would be like, oh, I can't make the gig. I have a test tomorrow
Classic.
or whatever.
Right.
But more or less the same lineup of the band we had today from when we were back in college. We were playing a lot of the same music that we play today. And we were calling ourselves often the Clyde Lawrence Band because
Right.
Gracie was in high school at the time.
Right.
So she would come up to visit us on weekends and play shows not only at Brown but at other schools. And whenever she was there, you know, she'd be a really featured member of it.
Right.
But it was just that she couldn't always make it to the shows. And at the time, I was doing most of the songwriting.
Right.
But I remember being in the library one time, and I overheard these two girls at a table next to me who didn't realize that I was sitting right next to them. We had a house show planned for that night. One of them saying to the other, "Oh, are you going to go to the Clyde Lawrence show tonight?" And the other one said to her, she was like, "I think so. Do you know if his sister Gracie's coming up for the show? Because I really prefer the shows when she's there too." And in my head, I was like, all right, I guess like it's time to really solidify this.
Right.
Wait, quick question, man.
yeah.
How do you, normally a lot of people go to Berkeley
Yeah.
and that whole track of going to those schools that, you know, just do music. How did you get to Brown?
I just didn't want to go to music school. I think that
There you go.
I don't really have a great answer for you. I pretty much didn't even consider it. I was
There's your answer.
so sure that music was what I loved to do.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say that I was like bullish about feeling that I didn't need to learn more because I feel like I needed so much more to learn and still do. But I guess I was just like had a thirst for a different type of experience that wasn't like solely a music education. I mean, you know, we've been friends for years. You know, I'm like very nerdy and curious about a whole host of things.
Lots of things.
And I also like present company excluded, often don't really like hanging out with musicians. Like
Right.
most of my friends, you've met many of my friends.
Of course.
Like most of them are not musicians. I have a
Right.
small group of friends who are musicians, and even the folks in my band, they're all also people that didn't go to music school. So I think that the idea of forget whether to get a music education, the idea of just like spending 4 years hanging out with musicians all the time
It was
didn't
like,
even
no,
appeal
thank
to me.
you. Right.
And I also think I was very aware. At my high school, I was like pretty much one of the only music kids, and people really rallied around me and supported me. And I like playing the role of being the music guy in the friend group. And I was very aware that if you go to Berkeley, if you go to NYU or one of those like, you know, places where there's tons of artists, it's like, come to my show. Oh, I totally would, but I have my show, which you should
Right.
come to. And it's like everyone just promoting themselves to each other, and there's a competitiveness there, and there's a whole thing there,
Yeah.
and it's both not my vibe, and it's also just like, I had this vision, which we were lucky enough to really execute on, of like going to a school that wasn't a music school
Yeah.
and being like the band or one of the bands on campus that people really rallied around and supported because they were all pre-med or they were all this or they were all that. And they were like, oh my God, it's so fun to support. It was this not novel concept. There was tons of talented artists there, but it wasn't the same as if I was at a music school.
Yes.
There is something to be said that some of the joy is just taken out of it.
Yeah.
Because of the competitive nature.
Yeah.
And then you got the faculty and they're trying to force a vision upon you,
Right.
maybe in some road that you really don't want to go down.
Right.
And a lot of people stop playing music.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
they kind of they get burned out. I mean, I know a lot of talented people
Right.
in school. Man, they don't want to go close to music anymore, man, because the joy was just like,
Yeah.
you know.
And it's not just the education and the way that that's approached. It is the culture of the
Yes.
other people there. Like
Yeah, right,
music is something that
Right.
that needs to be enjoyed by a group of people that includes people that themselves aren't trying to make it as musicians.
Yeah, man.
And you feel like you're in this weird, bizarro world if you are only like kind of like testing out your music and exploring what your artistry is surrounded by other people that are doing the exact same
Right.
thing. It's just a weird vibe. I actually think I would recommend it way more highly to people that are looking to be touring, gigging, like, or studio people that are part of other people's artist project or producers or writers, because you make so many great connections, and I'm sure your proficiency is like insane when you go through all of that.
Right.
But I think if you have a vision for your own artist project and you have a really clear vision for what you want it to be and you're looking to like explore that and play music for people and get experiences in life that allow you to like make the most interesting, fun music that you can.
Right.
I don't necessarily always recommend it.
Totally. I mean, I met Kenyatta because I went to school at Ohio State in Columbus, and initially I was not a music major. And so when I switched to that major, it felt like, and you know, I studied with this guy over here who changed my life, amazing. But more so, it felt like I was making music at a school that was not necessarily like full of like music makers. And so when I met, you know, the Hunter Tones guys, Dan and Chris, we were making music at these house parties, and sure, School of Music people would come, but 60% of the people that were there were just like Ohio State college kids.
Yeah, and you need to impress those people.
Yes.
Is a
That's
whole
the gig.
different
That's the gig.
situation.
That's the gig. That's the gig.
And that's what you guys do that's so special is
Right.
you're combining this like instrumental jazz adjacent genre that
Right.
you've kind of created,
Right.
and you sound like a version of that where you had to ground test it by impressing
Non-musicians.
like dudes at Ohio State who were not like, and that's like the magic of it.
Yeah,
to
but
me.
those are people who are going to actually come to your shows. Because
No, I'm
And
saying
pay for
yeah.
it.
mu-
Because musicians are always the ones that are like, hey,
Can I get on the
free
list?
ticket?
Can I get on
Yeah,
the list?
yeah, exactly.
Can I get on the list?
That's my point. Is like,
Right.
what's like a whole friend group of only musicians gonna
Right.
do for you? It's gonna get a bunch of people telling you that you should come to their show while you're saying they should come to your show, and then
Dude.
when they do come, they ask you to come on the list.
So basically, you guys, I did not have this experience,
Right.
even though you did go to a school of music,
Right.
per se.
but you were like,
The
I saw you dotting the I.
Yeah, right. The environment was a lot different.
it was showmanship.
You were the guy.
Yes,
It
a
was
lot of showmanship.
it was showmanship,
Right.
and I think that a lot of people who study music, not to kind of venture too far off, lose the research and development aspect of being able to connect
Right.
Yeah.
to people.
Right.
Totally.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's like, because I don't think musicians, or we're all musicians, but yeah, we'll always find a little something. Like,
Right.
you know, a little bit of hateration every
Oh,
now and
Always.
Well, it's competitiveness.
Yeah,
right.
There's a natural competitiveness, and then there's bad vibes, and then
Right.
there's whatever, and there's just the like honest, well-intentioned, different approach to listening music and having insight or feedback that musicians will have that other people won't have, and it doesn't even have to come from a place of jealousy.
Right.
There's
So-
a reality to it too.
So at that point, is this the point to where, I mean, because I've studying your live shows, you guys give a lot of energy
Yeah.
in your live shows.
We've-
And so when you were at Brown, was this like the genesis of everything coming together?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've often described it as like when we were in college, we were trying to put on like the most like professional version of like a really fun college house party,
Good.
like the most concert version of that. And then now that we are like putting on really legit concerts, we're trying to put on like, we're trying to still keep a little dose of that college party energy to it.
Right.
Cause yeah, we would play like Dartmouth frat parties where like, yeah, I feel like we were playing stuff and trying to really get a professional version of it going while still putting on a really good time. I'm in a war. I fight my history. It's hard to ignore the thing that used to be. You look at me now, but I wonder if you see that I'm swimming in the past and you're waiting patiently. You heard it all before. It isn't you, it's me. When I'm losing the battle, you're just another casualty. Oh, a casualty. Here we go, feeding the flame of insecurity. And all I have to give is my apology. And you heard it all before. It isn't you, it's me. When I'm losing this time, in case you'll see. There we go.
That's cold, bruh.
There we go.
The other thing I want to talk about is like, as not only are you playing, but like you've always been writing. And I
Yeah.
think about, you mentioned kind of this album Homesick, that a lot of the originals that you were playing at the parties are from that. And then, you know, fast forward to, I think Breakfast came out in 2017. 16. And kind of the albums after that, which is almost like where it's like, okay, this is the Lawrence band kind of sound that even continued to develop. The sonic landscape shifts between even 2017 and now, but the songs still feel very much like the songs you were writing in 2013 in terms of like harmony or even the lyrics. Talk to me about the journey of like maintaining your songwriting style and integrity, but kind of the sonic world of Lawrence building.
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I would say that a lot of it's not super intentional. I think that like, if there's anything intentional, it's just we always just want to make whatever music we really want to make. Like, I think that there is, like, that to me is the North Star. Like, I think to me it's just like, I want every album to be whatever I want that album to be in that moment. Songwriting wise, I don't know. I guess like I incorporate new things when I hear new things that I love, but those things can be as simple as like a chord. Like I'm so nerdy that way. Like I will like hear a chord in a song, like flat 6 major 7 over flat 7.
Right.
Like in the context of a given key.
Whoever's listening, go play that chord on the piano right now.
Yeah. Like if you're in like E flat, like B flat, B major 7 over D flat.
I'm trying to hear this.
Right. He's
like,
yeah.
okay.
And then I'll be like, what are all the contexts in which that works? And like, that's such an amazing chord, and like putting it into my musical vocabulary. And then like, I remember learning that chord between Breakfast and Living Room. And then I must have like in my writing of Living Room, like tried that chord in every single song.
Right.
Just because I was like, this chord is sick. I want to work this in somewhere. You know what I mean? And then it's like the first chord in that song, Whoever You Are.
Yes.
And then the other way that it changes is like actual life experiences changing. You know, Gracie and I have described our music as being like different seasons of a TV show. Like our entire career and discography is like a TV show, but each season is different. Not in necessarily the tone of it per se, but just the characters are going through something different. This album, I might be going through a breakup.
Right.
Next album, I might be together with my new girlfriend. You know, and it's like the songs are going to be about that because we're writing about our lives. And then on the production point of it, like your favorite TV show, they might adopt a slightly new look and feel or camera look or whatever. Like, and it's just about like responding to what they're into at that moment. And I remember hearing like brass tracks.
Yeah.
Right towards the end of making our album Breakfast, which Breakfast was a very organic live sounding album.
Yes.
I remember hearing brass tracks at the tail end of making Breakfast and being like, oh fuck, like that's so sick.
Yeah.
Like, and being like, that's a different approach to the style of music that I love writing.
Yeah.
That is like different than how I had considered producing it. We got to have some of that energy on the next album.
Right.
And so it's just like genuine inspiration.
Yeah.
And then like got really into Jon Bellion between Living Room and Hotel TV and got lucky enough to work with him. And it's like, oh, we gotta, and it was just like thinking about different things that we could incorporate. And then, so I think it is that. It's just like genuine inspiration on both the production and the writing.
I think that it's interesting to track the development of what you were alluding to, where you've always felt like you were less of a singer and Gracie was more of the singer. Do you all ever feel like you're in competition with each other? Has it always been kind of like a collaborative thing?
Gracie and I are siblings. We are so many things to each other.
Of course.
And anybody that like, if anybody thinks that we're trying to portray that our relationship is like perfect or flaw free. Like, that's certainly not the case. We have our disagreements. We have our moments of tension.
Your brother and sister, yeah.
Like any brother and sister would, like any creative partners would, like any business partners would, like any best friends would,
Right.
like any two people that live on a tour bus together would. But we have never had any sense of competition at all. And I think it's because we're so deeply partnered that like her success is my success and my success is her success, and respect that she gets is respect that I get, and vice versa. I think that there's certain like interesting, often gendered things that I wouldn't say creates competition, but like I would say that there's often sometimes we'll get fan questions that like are very directed at me about the songwriting, and like people assume that I just kind of like do more of the creative than her.
Yeah.
I think that there is a component of it that's because I'm a man, but I also think that there's a component of it that's because like I very prominently play an instrument in the band,
Right.
and I'm like very known among our fan base to be like very proficient in instruments. People don't know that she's a totally capable instrumentalist, and also because like our earlier music, I did write more of it. So I wouldn't say that's a feeling of competition, but I think maybe she does feel sometimes like wanting to make sure that people understand that like we are partnered in those ways.
Right.
But between the two of us, there's really no competition. I like have so much respect for her skill set, and there's so much overlap with mine, but there's also so much difference than mine. Like the reason why I'm wearing sweatpants to this is because she wasn't here to tell me not to. Like she picks out what I wear, not to just like limit it to clothing. She has so much vision that's part of our entire identity as a band that's totally not overlapping with like areas that I'm really focused on. But then we do have areas of real agreement, which is like on a lot of the songwriting and whatnot.
Right. I love that.
I mean, as a band, you said that you've been working with the same group of guys, and obviously your sister. How's that all reflected in like the production and the songwriting? I mean, are you bouncing ideas off them? Do they have creatively? Do they have a little weight in the band? Do you lean on them for ideas? Like when you guys are coming together with the production of the song and you're storing together ideas, how does that all work out? Especially with like a lot of people that you...
Yeah, there's 8 of us in total in the band, and we're all, essentially best friends. I would say that like certainly at the beginning of the band, like when we started making Breakfast, like those early records, because Gracie and I had so many years of like forming this like musical partnership and identity and writing for years together, it was mostly, the writing was all mostly coming from me and Gracie. And from the beginning, there's 2 other guys in the band, Jordan Cohen, our sax player, and Johnny Coe, our guitarist, who are really great producers and were really into producing from a young age. And so from day one, they were super involved in the production of all of the songs. So we would like bring often them first, show them these songs, and then work on producing them and show them to the rest of the band too. And everyone would have ideas or feedback. Everyone would have, I wouldn't call it ideas as much as feedback. Oh, I don't love this part. I do love this part. Da, 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 da. So I'd say those first couple albums were like pretty much across the board. You could say me and Gracie were writing every bit of it. And then Johnny and Jordan and Gracie and I were producing it together. And then sometimes there would be bits of feedback on the composition from people in the band or from Johnny and Jordan, but mostly it was coming from me and Gracie. As we've evolved a little more, and as Johnny and Jordan have become really good songwriters in their own right and more experienced at it, they're definitely, the 2 of them, more involved in the songwriting process than they used to be. I would say the core of the ideas are still coming from me and Gracie, and still very often full songs. Me and Gracie will still do it the way we used to do it, of coming and be like, here's a song we've written, let's produce it out. But like way more often than it used to be, Johnny and Jordan will have a big idea about a song that we came in with done, them being like, I think we could beat this bridge or whatever, and then we'll really attack it with them. Or we will do something we never used to do, which is come in with songs that are like quite incomplete, like maybe even just a germ of an idea, or maybe even like an idea for an idea, like, oh, let's make a song that feels like a Tower of Power song.
I'm listening to your songs and I'm listening to your creative process. I find it to be very remarkable that you and your sister, with two totally different styles,
Yeah.
they all merge together on one different track, and the music works. It works. It's two different things. She's a powerhouse singer.
Yeah.
You're coming from the soulful Randy Newman vibe,
Yeah.
and to hear both together,
It's
It's
fascinating.
funny because a lot of
Fascinating,
I
man.
feel like there's a like honored tradition of the family band, but usually it's people who have really similar voices. You look at the Beach
Carpenters.
Boys, you look at the Bee Gees, whatever. Yeah, it's like people who it's like they get the comment of like, oh, when they sing together, it just sounds like one voice. Like Gracie and I have two very different voices, but
it's like Miles and Train.
Right. Like totally different energies, but because of what happens,
It
it,
works.
becomes a really special thing.
It works.
Yeah.
And it can't be recreated because
Yeah.
a lot of that is not
yeah.
notes and rhythms. A lot of that is like growing up with somebody.
yeah, and it's
know?
fun because we like will interpret things in very different ways
Right.
vocally. Like you've probably even been there when like we'll be working on a song and like I'll have an idea for an ad lib that Gracie should do. Oh, sing it like this, da da da. But then it's like in her voice, it comes out different than mine. And then I'm
Right.
like, oh no. Actually, just like take the inspiration from what I just suggested,
And do your
but
thing.
do whatever you would do that would give it that same energy because we have such different voices.
Right. I'm just going to say this on the podcast. It's been a great honor of my life and my time in New York, specifically working with you guys on the records and kind of becoming like an extended member of the
Absolutely.
Lawrence family. But it's been so inspiring to watch you guys create music. And what I really, really respect about y'all is that the freedom of the production process of making these records is also kind of balanced out by, y'all are very much a live band. And
Yeah.
something that I've noted in your live shows is that, like, regardless of how crazy the production is on a track, you'll be like, how do we replicate this in a live way with these musicians that we
And
have
no
on
backing
stage?
tracks.
But not only like recreating the songs, but like, how do we arrange this in a way that can be like slick for the live show, treating it very much like a separate entity?
Yeah, one of my biggest pet peeves. Well, first of all, I appreciate you saying that, and like it is the honor of all of our lifetime to have you be such a consistent collaborator with us. It is like the most fun thing, and you've added so much to our music in so many ways. So it's super cool. But yeah, no, I mean, I think that the live, I like put a lot of energy into that, and like it's one of my biggest pet peeves when like people don't do cool shit with their live arrangements. And for us, it's like, yeah, we have this 8-piece band. There's no backing tracks. We try to make every song as awesome as it is on the record live, or even more awesome, even with the limitations of only having that 8-piece band. And we try to, as much as possible, have things in the live arrangement that aren't even on the record. We're not trying to replicate exactly the record. We start sometimes from a place of like, well, let's all jam on what we do on the record. But then it's immediately deconstructing it. Oh, there's a string part that is on the record. Horns, play that string part. Oh, there's a horn part during that part. Let's figure out which one's more important. Or Mark, you play the string line. Jordan and Sumner, you play what the horn line was. We're immediately starting to do those things. Drum parts are always different. Everything's different. Like very infrequently are people actually playing the part that their instrument plays because there's so much other stuff on the record.
Right.
And then, yeah, we're adding sections, adding breakdowns, lengthening sections, shortening things, adding hits.
Right.
Like, to me, that is such a sacred part of the process that is so much fun. That's one of my biggest joys in the
How
band.
do the audiences feel about that? Because I've done a lot of tours where artist plays the record.
Yeah.
People show up.
That's what they want to hear.
They want to hear the freaking record.
Right.
So through your fan base, I'm assuming that has to be widely appreciated that you guys are kind of giving a little bit, something that's different than the actual record.
I'd like to think, if I'm going to like toot my own horn in any regard in this whole conversation, it's that I think as a music director, I think a big strength of mine is finding that that really good middle ground between giving them the song that they love on the record and not feeling like they're going to leave the show being like, we didn't hear Don't Lose Sight the way we know and love it, but also adding a ton of stuff to it that, or like changing stuff. Like a lot of what we're doing is in service of making it hit as hard as the record, a lot of the changes, but then, because also things translate differently, but then, yeah, like, I don't know, I'd like to think we're very rarely being like, oh, let's do this song in a completely different style. It's very often like, let's do the version of it that's going to make people most feel like, oh my God, I just saw that song in its biggest and best way.
Yeah.
You know?
Overdue. You know I got a lot of things been slipping through, but these days I might just miss a thing or two. Oh, what can I do? You know I hate to leave you hanging, but I'll just circle back to say, can we push the deadline one more week away? 'Cause I'm having such a lovely little day. Oh, what can I do? You know I hate to leave you hanging, but I'll just have to circle back to you. I'll circle back to you. And when I'm with her, it's a weekend. I need a Sunday afternoon, but after Sunday or Monday, oh, it comes way too soon. Too soon. Left unread, no room for all this other business in my head. Oh, I'd rather hang out with a girl I love instead. Oh, what can I do? You know I hate to leave you hanging, but I'll just have to circle back to you. Oh, I'm gonna circle back to you.
All right, go ahead, Jon.
And when I'm with her, it's a weekend. I need a Sunday afternoon, but after Sunday or Monday, oh, it comes way too soon. Too soon. Left unread, no room for all this other business in my head. Oh, I'd rather hang out with a girl I love instead. Oh, what can I do? You know I hate to leave you hanging, but I'm gonna leave you hanging. Oh, I'm gonna leave you hanging, 'cause I'm gonna have to circle back to you. I'm gonna circle back to you.
Yeah, man.
Sounds good. A-E-1 short.